South Africans, let me touch your hand when I say this. We understand what colored means. I had to say it slowly because a lot of y'all refuse to accept it because of your bias against Americans and thinking that we're all so dumb and that we're so obsessed with race and we can't tell that there's different races out there. We understand. It's not hard to understand that you guys designated a separate race of mixed people. It's not hard. It's not challenging. People may not have been familiar with it, but it takes 5 seconds to explain it. And we understand, y'all. We understand. The issue is that we have more problems than just the fact that she's colored. And I just wanted to address really quickly this whole color thing. So basically in South Africa, back during apartheid times, the white government in power decided to create a whole brand new ethnic group / race called colored people, which were basically mixed people. People like her, like Tyla, who are mixed with Zulu, mixed with Irish, mixed white, Asian, and black, okay? And maybe some other stuff in there too. But basically very different mixes, right? You could be mixed. There's different versions of this. Like some people are colored and have no black blood in them at all. Some people are colored and have no fill in the blank blood in them all. So it really depends on who you are. It basically is a designation for mixed people, okay? Mixed people. And so the government created them as a buffer class in order to help buffer the government, the white government, from Black South Africans who were increasingly getting sick and tired of apartheid and ready to fight. So they created this buffer zone. So this ethnicity, this race of colored was created to prop up white supremacy. They gave colored people a little bit of extra privileges. They told colored people that they were better than those blacks, those K words, yeah. Those K words. They said that they were better than them. They instilled a nice little superiority complex into them. And so the colors created a nice buffer zone, just like in the United States, how the powers that be created a buffer zone with poor white people. Started back in the time of enslavement, right? Because enslaved Africans were starting to link up with poor indentured servants and poor white Americans. They were starting to link up and they were starting to say, hey, we realize we have a common enemy, which is the powers that be. So let's fight against it. And once that happened, the rich landowning class was like, we can't have that. Let's give the poor white people a couple of privileges above the black people and they'll do our dirty work for us. And flash forward to 2024 and it's still happening today. Look at the police force. The vast majority of the police force are working class white people. Okay? And the same thing happened in South Africa. They created this buffer class so that they could be protected by colored people so that Black South Africans couldn't fight for their freedom. Okay? And not only did they create this class, but colored people ran with it. And so now flash forward past the time of apartheid is over and colored people have, they have this superiority complex. Not only do they have a superiority complex, but they don't want to be associated with black people. Hence why when we Americans mistakenly identified Tyla as a black person, all of the colored South Africans ran to the comments, ran to the internet to make for damn sure that we would not, how dare we call her black? That's really what they were saying in those comments. She's not a dirty black like y'all. She's a colored. And we should show her that respect because nobody wants to be black in their mind. And that's the truth. I did a post on Tyla a couple months ago when this all started stirring. And the post was asking Black South Africans, what's their relationship like with colored South Africans? And when I tell you, the Black South Africans had to hide in my DMs, were terrified to come out and tell me the truth. And they told me the truth. I have DMs of people wrote a whole essay breaking it down for me that basically, they said that the Cape Town coloreds are problematic. They don't want to be associated. The Joburg coloreds, Johannesburg coloreds, they're okay. They're cool. Like I got all this tea from Black South Africans, but ultimately the consensus was, colored South Africans do not want to be identified as black, and they do not want to be associated with black people. And that's what it is. And that's really the crux of why the hell this shit went down with Tyla, because she has been trained her whole life to not want to be associated with black people, and that being associated with black people is a negative thing. So of course she doesn't want to be called colored. Of course she wants to come out here and tell people that she's not black, until she got backed up into a corner. So understand that, okay? The second issue here is a lack of respect for black Americans, point blank, period, all right? It is a lack of respect. You cannot come into somebody else's home and then tell them how they're gonna operate. You cannot come into the United States, try to push this act on the black community. You want our black dollars to support her, and then she doesn't want to be associated with us. She doesn't want to respect us. She doesn't want to answer people who media outlets question. She wants to ignore those questions because to her, she shouldn't have to answer that. How are you going to come into somebody's house, try to ingratiate yourself into their community, but then you don't think that you are obligated to respond and answer their questions about anything, to be quite honest? And that's an issue. There's a lack of respect for black Americans. And I say this as a first generation black American, okay? My parents are immigrants. So I know it's not just South Africans. It's also within this country. Okay? A lot of non-black Americans disrespect black Americans. They act like black Americans have no culture while simultaneously appropriating said culture. They act like black Americans contribute nothing to they drag black Americans left and right. There's a lack of respect. And this has translated to the whole entire world. Hence why Tyla thought she could come to the United States, come to black American media outlets, and refuse to answer questions that are important to us black Americans. And the final thing that I want to address, because I'm running out of time here, is that one of the things that I think is missing from this discussion is that none of the South Africans have asked black Americans, why do we care so much? Why do we care so much what Tyla is? Why do we care whether or not she claims blackness? Well, first of all, you don't get to not claim blackness and then, and then enjoy the black dollars. That's number one. But also, we South Africans, I need you to listen to me. Okay, because y'all never asked us why we cared. And if you did, you would have got a lesson in history. And that lesson is the fact that this country has a history of blackface, blackfishing, brownface, brownfishing, Asian fishing. We have a history of that. We have a history of white music execs, white TV execs, white film execs hiring non-black people to play black roles because they don't want to pay black Americans. It is really that simple. We have a history of non-POC people playing POC in this country or pretending to be POC. Do y'all remember when Pink was black? Did y'all forget that? When Pink was black? They tried to push her as a black artist on us, and she was a whole white woman. And that's what they tried to do with Tyla. They said, we're going to have her show up emulating, looking like a black woman, but she's not actually black. And she's going to exploit the black American media machine. Because let's be real, when black Americans say something's hot, it's hot all over the world, period. We're going to exploit that media machine while disrespecting black people. Okay? We have a history of them doing that. And so Tyla, whether she may be a pawn in this, I don't know. But Tyla is doing the same shit that we've been dealing with for generations and we are trying to fight against.